Now they go green. Great start from pole position. And in third place, Christoph Zirkling tucking right under the rear wing of the Audi. Cars kicking up the dirt on the outside. One of the Land Motorsport Audis onto the grass, but keeps it in a straight line. The Audi goes into first position, muscling his way through after that great start goes Christopher Zirkling. And for Kirchhofer, rather shoveled out of the way down into turn one. Two cars through up the escape road. In the background, that was inevitable. 34 giant GT3 cars trying to go into a really tight combination, but we've got 4 or 5 cars off in the background. Maybe it was as they rejoined. When I say 4 or 5, it could be about 8. The Ferrari on the left of the screen, the 84 Mercedes alongside. I think we'll be having a safety car signal. They're spread all over the circuit. There's the Honda. Has that been involved? Oh yes, he's got a flat tyre at the back, so hasn't been a dream start at all for the Honda. That's Christopher Dreyspring, one of many young drivers in this race. And looking back down the Honda, you can hear how the tail of that car for Christopher Dreyspring is sitting low on the track after that puncture. And I'm afraid we're going to have a fair few more damaged cars. There's the Ferrari in a spin. Oh dear, 2 teammates, the 2 Audis from EFP by Techie. So that would be Florian Spengler and Ilya Earhart. They've been past the class. Oh, the front end of the Audi clearly had a blow against the number 6 Audi. That's Oscar Tunjo and even Lukashevich. But for Dominik Schwager, all those years of experience, and it hasn't been able to help him at all down at turn 2. And you certainly feel that it would have been a multiple collision down there. So very, very frustrated. Car number 12 sitting at the side of the circuit down there. It was down towards the end. That was the cars that started in the sort of 20 plus positions on this 34 car grid. Oh dear, car number 33, that's over and out for the home hero, Philip Salakada. How unfair, he was starting 10th on the grid. Things were looking pretty good for a useful helping of points. Doing that international language of drivers, keep your helmet on as you fume and just stare at various bits of the car that clearly had been given a helping hand, not by your rivals. So while the first 5 or 6 cars got through the first corner cleanly, a couple went up the escape road from the latter half of the field. Sister car to the pole starter, that's car number 25 limping its way in, Ricardo Feller, young Swiss racer, doesn't turn 18 until a couple of months from now. So the safety car out at the front of the pack as the limping make their way back for repairs. Car 29 won't be the first, won't be the last into the pits. That's Alessio Picariello, and he was starting 12th on the grid. Now, the bodywork damage on many of these cars won't tell the full story because you can't tell who did what to whom. First few cars went very well through the turns 1 and 2 chicanes, but those behind, unfortunately, just got bottled up. 34 into 2 very tight corners, clearly not going. So the clock continues to tick down from the 1 hour plus 1 lap duration of this lap. You can see the 33 Salakada Audi up on the side of the circuit in the background. So let's take a look. Here's the rolling start again. Look for the BMW tucked behind the pink and white Audi. Absolutely brilliant start from Dreyspring. Not a bad start from either of the front row starters, but it was the momentum was with the BMW touching almost the front of the pole start, the back of the rear of the pole starting Audi. Looks all right from the back as we go down to turn. We'll see a couple of cars just getting it wrong. Oh, one of the Porsches going up the escape road there was given a bit of a nudge towards the outside of the corner. But the first handful of cars behaved very well. Robert Renauer nearly squeezed actually into the wall at pit exit. The Lamborghini at the back just sort of went on its own. Jonathan Dudek deciding to keep out of the way. Now here it all went wrong. A couple of cars going around and then you just run out of space. The 2 yellow and black Techie Audis not hitting anything but just simply being caught out. Now let's see why the car went up the escape road right at Christopher Dreyspring. He's not showing us a story. Looking back from the Honda, that's all fairly tight. It's going to get busy. Something's going to happen in the back. Oh, well, you can see the poor old one of the 2 Kuss Bernhardt Porsches given nowhere to go. It's just as he wanted to turn into the corner. There wasn't any space left. Then bodywork damage. That would be Ezequiel Perez Compangs Lamborghini. And behind, perhaps in avoidance of some of that debris, we had other cars going off. You can see already the Bernhard car, one of the Bernhard Muka cars, sorry, limping slowly at the side of the circuit. That's the one with the puncture. Those 2 cars actually did well to go up the escape road, got out of the melee behind. At least they got to the exit of turn 2. Plenty of others didn't. That is what we call a kiss. A clout up the low rear-facing camera. The evidence was all there, and that was 48 planting the kiss. Indy Doncia hitting the back of that was he was the one who hit the back of Robert Renauer. Renauer, as we saw, his Porsche being squeezed towards the wall at pit exit. Patrick Assenheimer, the Auto Arena Motorsport Mercedes, sitting in the pits for repairs. And I really did feel for the EFP by Techie team. That was Florian Spengler. They seemed to just run out of space and just got taken off the circuit down at turn 2. Still clearing up the debris. There'll be plenty of glass fibre shards down there. A lot of contact. Right, we're riding on board 24th, down towards the end of the grid. Mike Ortman, and it's all going to be happening in front of him. Look, the Porsche's about to be shoveled off the side of the circuit by the Mercedes. No, yes. Oh, no, that's a bit later. Oh, it was another Mercedes coming across. That could well have been the 84 car that pushed the Porsche off on the outside. Now, the Ferrari's already hit the back of someone. So, despite the best efforts of the stewards and the clerk of the course to give them all a briefing beforehand, the first corner and the second are very, very tight. Not everybody listened. And Florian Spengler, I don't think, is being enormous. He wants his car to be more on a level as it's lifted away from the circuit. But as much as anything, I really feel there was nothing he could have done down there. He just got caught up and there was no space to go. So I think that adds to the dissatisfaction that he's feeling at the moment. Big presence in the paddock for the team EFP by Techie. You can see them on board for ISR. Their home race. So frustrating for Philippe Talicada. He must have been probably the best place for the cars to get caught up in all that tangle. So the safety car continues on its way. And Jeffrey Schmidt continues in the lead of the race. Looking back through the rear windscreen at Jeffrey Schmidt's Nuka Motorsport Audi, with Christoph Zirkling tucked in behind in second place in the BMW. There it is, black and white BMW, and then the car that started third on the grid, Marvin Kirchhofer, running along behind. Then Robert Renauer, despite being tackled a couple of times, is in fourth place, and then 42 tucked in behind in fifth, and 42 is the second best of the BMWs. That's Mikkel Jensen. Then come the two HCP Motorsport bright yellow cars of Marcus Pommer and Indy Doncia in 6th and 7th places. So it just remains to be seen how many other cars need to be cleared. Most of them seem to have limped their way back round to the pits. Clearly Florian Spengler's couldn't, no longer had any drive.